It's 2024 now. Is this microphone even still on? I think it is. Hey, welcome to Musings with Shinnell, the podcast where we endeavor to know better, be better, and do better by examining our lives and the ways in which we navigate the spaces where we find ourselves. I'm your host, Shinnell, and I hesitate to say that I'm back because for those of you who just discovered the podcast and you might have been listening from season 1, episode 1, all the way through, right, one after the other, it may seem to you like every few episodes, there's like some version of I'm on a hiatus and I'm back, right? Hiatus and back. Because if you're listening in that flow, you will not be able to appreciate that the gap between whatever the last episode you listened to and this current episode has been at least 3 years. But who's even counting? I guess I am, because I just told you. But I haven't really been counting over the past couple of years because so much has happened. Where do I even begin? I think I'll just start with now. Now let me do a quick introduction / reintroduction to you beautiful people. I am Shinnell Mariah. Wait a minute, I know. That's not the name I told you years ago. We're back to the maiden name, folks. And it's fine. Don't panic. I promise it's good. It's fine. I don't know that there truly is value in me trying to give you like a play-by-play of what happened day by day, month by month, year by year. Because everything has been happening and it's been happening quickly and going over every little bit of what's been happening professionally and personally and geographically. I don't think that's really useful. But I'm here and I'm back. And interestingly enough, refreshing really to me, I have the same mandate, if you want to call it that, which is basically having this podcast and using it as this platform to share knowledge and tidbits that I've gained along the way that have been really helping me, particularly over the past few years when life has just been lifing and doing the absolute most. It's given me more than a few curveballs, right? And I've been faced with many, many truths, most of them about myself more than anybody else. And I've had to become much, much more conscious and engaged, right, in my consciousness and my being, and I've gotten more aware intentionally of my thoughts, and I've really been looking at this reality and this life that I've created and the role that my thoughts and my inner belief system and my disposition and my mindset, like what role did all of those things play in this life that I've found myself in, that I've created, in some ways consciously, but then also unconsciously, and all of it being subconscious creation, right? And I've really been taking as objective a look as somebody can take when they're the subject of their own observations. But anyway, here I am. And I remember a while ago I used to say, I have things to say and I'm going to use this podcast to say it. Very much the same. Here I am with things to say. And again, I'm coming to the podcast to say it. And the hope truly is just that, something that I say, some truth that I share, some story that I tell, is helpful to you or somebody in your life. And I also want to be this space where like people can just unplug, unplug from your own life, your own thoughts, and just like chill with me and listen to me and my musings and all the things that I'm thinking about, whether it's like about love or purpose or freedom and life and joy and manifestation and mindsets, like whatever it is. Like, come spend time with me and we could just like chill out and talk about stuff. You know, now that I'm recording this, I can actually appreciate just how much I miss this podcast, which was wild. But I guess I did. And I want to take this moment to just appreciate the people that over the past 3 years, I don't know how on earth they found the podcast, because I didn't have any kind of like social media presence around the podcast or even like personally for a while. But somehow people have been finding the podcast and listening and sharing with their friends. And then I'd see like multiple people listening, and it's just been heartwarming. And I'm very grateful to you all for finding it over the past few years, for listening to it when I launched initially. And then now, when again, I have no social media presence, somehow you're here. So I don't know if you left the notifications on or what, but the podcast has found you, and I am so grateful. And I think that's also a big part of why I'm coming back to the same platform, right? I've thought about it for a minute, not a long time, but I've thought about it enough. And I just felt like, you know, of course it could be exciting to think, let me snatch up this opportunity to like reinvent myself, you know, come back fresh and new and different, new everything, new podcast, new name, new me. But then when I sat with it, I just really didn't want to do that. Because the podcast is just me, right? Like, when I started this podcast, let me just give you like a little bit of background here. This podcast has truly been a labor of love. I don't want it to be an abandoned project. Like, I will come back to finish something. Even if it's 3 years, I'll come back and I'll finish it or continue it in this case. But at the time the podcast launched, it was 2020. We were in the heart of the pandemic. I just had my second child, still only have 2 children. But I just had my second child a few months before that, and I was still married then. I was professionally, I was like a compliance vice president at a bank, and life was happening. I was busy. Like, my 2 babies were babies. Like, both kids were under 2 years old at the time. And free time just wasn't the thing that I felt like I had. I just did not have it. I was even breastfeeding then. Like, I did not have 5 minutes, I thought. But I found it for the podcast. And it was just basically that I had this strong sense of purpose in wanting to connect with people and help in some way. Because, you know, in pandemic time, people were like, you're confined and you're anxious and you're angry and you're having to like face yourself and face people and feel trapped, and life didn't stop, and it was just a lot. And I was navigating those spaces and trying to find solutions for myself and things that I was dealing with emotionally and, you know, trying to make sense of. And like, as I would get those answers, I'd share it on the podcast, hoping that, you know, these are the truths that I found that helped me, and somebody somewhere must be feeling the same things. Maybe it'll help them. It was kind of like therapy, because, you know, when you serve others, in many ways, you're actually serving you, because we're all the same. But I remember I would, you know, pray before the podcast and set intentions and just be like, God, just give me the words and the direction to like say the things to help the people. It was me. I'm the people that I was helping, and also everyone else that listened. But life was happening, and I think life has continued to happen, right? We don't have to be like in the pandemic the way we were before, but life is happening for all of us at all times, whether you're navigating young kids, work, no kids, yourself, relationships, being at home, adjusting to life, transitioning from jobs, different relationship status, like whatever it is, life is happening. But when I look at it, it was just such a different life back then, for me at least, right? And if you asked me then, or told me or described to me my life today and said, this is going to be you, and these are all the things that you're going to go through, ma'am. This is everything that's going to happen. I would have called you a dirty, dirty liar. Because how? I had it figured out. But here we are, right? In this brand new space and time, and I feel really proud that I don't feel the need to reinvent myself because I'm still me. I'm just more me. And the path of discovery that I have been on, I think for my entire adult life, being a teenager, like late teenage years onwards, has been, a lot of me trying to figure out what's a good life, what's fulfillment, what's this stuff that we're all made of that makes us all the same. What do we have in common with each other? Why is it that if you trigger me, it's a sign that there's something inside of me that identifies with whatever that trigger is, right? Why are we mirrors? Why are we all the same? How do we find peace? What is there in the art of learning how to be rather than being caught up in all that we do? That kind of helps us to unlock some of the secrets in life. Like, what's all this stuff? I was and have always been so interested in it, a lifelong learner, just like seeking and seeking and seeking and wanting to know, right? So that I could have peace. Like, what is peace? How do we find it, right? And really feel as though I am coming into this life ready to assume, the fullest expression of myself, but to assume that you have to know yourself, right? And that's a lifelong quest as well. But I found myself in that space quite a bit. And I think, when they say, be careful what you pray for, because if you pray and you ask for patience, then life's going to give you a bunch of situations that require you to have patience, right? So be careful what you pray for. That's kind of how I felt. I feel like my life's song inside of me earnestly was, this peace, what's fulfillment? And life just kind of said to me, whether it's God, life, forces that be, energy, whatever I was attracting, whatever it was, I feel like it just said to me, girl, you've been asking about this peace thing, and what we're going to do for you is, instead of you having to conceptually figure out what it is, we're going to do a little practical study, and we're going to throw a bunch of stuff at you. We're going to let a lot of things happen. And you let us know how it goes as you find peace in all of that chaos. That's where I found myself and where I have found myself, right? And I've taken on the challenge, right? I'm here and I am no longer only having to, seek answers to life and fulfillment, in theory, right? Philosophically, metaphysically, logically, historically, scientifically, spiritually. I am a seeker, a lifelong learner. But now it's less of learning things conceptually. And I think I'm actually having to live out these things and practice what I've read and trying different techniques and adjusting my thoughts and picking different thoughts, testing different kinds of meditation and yoga. I'm trying so many different things because I am actually in the space where I need something to work, and I'm trying different things to get a little bit closer to peace and joy and fulfillment and letting go and letting God, right? And all of those things. And a lot of them are working as I'm on this journey. And so this podcast is kind of going to be me also sharing things that I now know to be true because I've had to practice them to get to the point where I now think that, I'm ready to talk, right, on a podcast and share. The one thing I want to share now is that the thing that I love the most about myself now is the fact that I am so confident in knowing that I don't know anything at all. Like, I know nothing. And that's a big deal, right? For someone like me who likes to know, getting comfortable with I don't know anything, it took a while, but it's the most liberating feeling ever. And so from time to time, I'm probably going to share something on this podcast that's going to help you or inspire you or make you think of something in a different way. Like, that is my goal. But I just want to make it totally clear that me, Shinnell, this physical being person that you see, like, my ego, my mind, whatever, is taking no credit for anything that I say here that helps you. It's all from my higher self, I think, that I've had to tap into a lot more. And it's my higher self that, has the eyes to see and the ears to hear the truth. My higher self doesn't have issues with denial or anything like that. And so whatever I share on this podcast is coming from such a pure place of good intentions. It's not that I've cracked any code that people cannot crack on their own. We all have it. It's just that I've been really seeking, and I feel like as you seek, things get revealed to you, right? Whether it's through life experiences, prayer, meditation, God, guides, energy, source, spirit, friends, family, situations, whatever it is. Like, wherever I get some nugget of wisdom and knowledge or something that like makes life better, I'm going to bring it here and I'm going to share it. But I personally, I take no credit for it. So here we are. And here I am doing the same podcast, picking up right where I left off with the same cover art and the same season 2, because it's the continuity for me, right? I didn't abandon me. I didn't abandon you. I just feel like there's something in my spirit that feels like this podcast is necessary. And so we're going to do it. And we're going to do it in whichever way I'm led to do it. I'm just really excited about this. Excited to see where this chapter takes us. But truly, I hope that you've been well. Judging from my past 3 years and how much has happened, like, I have no concept of like all the things that could have happened for you in your life. Some of you might not have had kids, and then you have kids now. You might have, had gotten married or gotten divorced or welcomed life or lost a life that's important to you. Like, so much could have happened. Gotten new jobs, left other jobs, started new ventures, had breakups, had makeups. Like, all of these things could have happened. And I'm just happy that we have found each other at this time, at exactly the right time. And I'm grateful that you're here and listening to this. So love is a vibration, right? Get in the frequency of love. And so I've been getting more comfortable with like normalizing love. Not just romantic love, but like love of like fellow beings, love of life, love of creation, and trying to come from that place. And so, is it weird to say I love you? A few years ago, I probably would have framed it like, you're loved, so that people know that they're loved. But I'm not. I'm in it. I'm in it deep. And I love you. And it's not strange to say that, because you're me and I'm you, and we're made of the same stuff. We're on the same journey. We're like in this together, whether we actually know each other in life or not. And I love you. And I love you because I know that life has been happening to you. And when life is happening to people, sometimes you forget that you're loved. And sometimes when life is happening, you isolate yourself and you don't even Let the people in that want to love you. And then let's not even get into the people that love you but don't even tell you that they do. What's up with that? I'm also not that great at, telling people stuff sometimes, but I'm trying. I'm good with like friends and validating them, but who doesn't have defenses? But I love you, and I'm saying it on behalf of whoever the people are in your life that they don't say it. We're in this life thing together, and we're doing it. Right? We're actually doing it. I remember I had a new job and I just didn't know if I could sustain it. I was so concerned about being able to navigate and balance like the responsibilities of my life and the responsibilities of the job. And it was just a lot for me. And I just didn't know if I could do it. And I remember this woman, she'd worked there for many, many years, seasoned, and I don't know if I said to her, I don't know if I could do this, or she sensed that I didn't know if I could do it. And she spoke to me and she just said, and this wasn't very long ago, this was like last year, and she spoke to me and she was like, you're already doing it. It's like, you're worried about if you can do it, and I'm watching you every day and you're doing it, and you're made of the stuff that you could be successful. You're doing it. Don't worry about if you are or aren't. You actually are. And that just gave me so much insight. I didn't know that I was doing it. I was worried about something that was already being solved for, right? That I was already solving for myself. And I just want to highlight for us that we're also doing it. We're doing this life thing. We're here, we're still breathing, but we're doing it. And we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to be just fine because we're already fine. And whatever it is that you're going through, we're going to push through it, and we're going to make it, and we'll get to the victory, right? Whatever that looks like for you, but you're doing it. You're worried about if you're a good wife and a good husband and a good father and a good mother and a good employee, and if you're balancing things right. And like, as you're worrying, sometimes you're already doing the thing that you're worried about and doing it well. So just that's just a little bit of encouragement. But now let me take a step back here. This episode is just me coming back, telling you that I'm back and we're flowing in whatever direction. So obviously in the future, we'll have more structure to it. But for this one, it's just like whatever I'm led to say, I'm going to say it. And right now, what's on my spirit is I just want to take a minute more than a minute, obviously, to talk to, those of you who feel like you're stuck in some kind of darkness. I want to offer a few things and perspectives that have helped me. First is, if things were meant to be another way than the way they are right now, they would be. Did you catch that? If things were meant to be any other way than the way they are right now, it would have been that way. And the fact that you found yourself in the space and place that you currently are, that feels dark, is not just some random event, right? It's by some kind of design, something that life has been putting out there for you, something that you've been putting out there for yourself, right? There's something here for you. Life didn't bring you here for you to die, right? And I know that it's lonely in this space. And I know that outside of even you're feeling probably unseen and unheard and uncared for, and people might be seeing you and they might be hearing you, and you just don't know how to be vulnerable and open up. And it's a lonely space to be in. And when you're in that kind of space, you just kind of feel like, well, Nobody in the world could ever understand exactly what I'm going through because it's me and I'm alone and it's dark and I'm sad and I'm angry and I just want to be done, right? Which nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with feeling your feelings. And we've been blessed with emotions. We've been blessed with this feeling nature that sets us apart in a very unique way. But in the darkness, what I've realized is that it's dark because I've moved away from the light. Not because there's no light there. It's dark because I've just moved away from the light. Maybe I'm exhausted. I'm just tired. I don't want to be a part of like thinking the same thoughts, doing the same things, fighting the same battles. Like when we're in the dark, sometimes like it's us. Like the light is just too bright and we don't want it because everything is just dire. But you need the light. The light is truth. The light is faith. The light is love. If you find yourself in the dark, you've found yourself in the opposite of love. And the opposite of love isn't hate, it's fear. So what are you afraid of? What is keeping you in the dark? And it's easy to point a finger everywhere else. It's your boss, it's your partner, it's the job, it's money, it's heartbreak. It's everything that happened to you. It's what they did. It's what they are doing. It's what they will do. You know? It's them. What I've been coming to see is that when you make anything outside of you the cause of how you feel within you, you're buying into an illusion and you're giving your power away. Because at that point, you don't even know what kind of day you're going to have. You're not in control of it. It depends on what someone else does, what they say, if they trigger you, if they don't, if it rains and you get wet. Everything outside of you is making a determination on how your life and your day will go. What kind of crap is that? Like real talk, like real talk. What on earth makes us think that that's okay? That's how we set ourselves up. That's how we become puppets on strings with people and life just moving us in any direction. And we allow that when we aren't toys and we aren't inanimate objects and we're living and breathing and powerful beings. We are made of all the right stuff that we were created with. Powerful beings. So when you find yourself in the dark, speak to yourself within. Look, I've had to talk to myself over the past few years. It works. Talk to yourself. When you find yourself in the dark, speak to yourself within. Tell yourself to get up. That part of you that's crouching inside and hiding and being small, tell yourself to get up. You were born to rise. You have to come up. Stand up. You need to come up. Higher, higher. Open your eyes. Lift your chin. Stand up a little bit taller. Coach yourself to get up and stand tall within yourself. Seek the light in your life as though everything depends on it, because I'm telling you, everything depends on it. The quality of your life depends on it. Seek that light in your mind. Seek it in your thoughts. Seek it in what you choose to feel. Challenge the darkness. Tell the darkness it's a lie. It's an illusion. It's there to confuse you. It's not real. Your mind and your thoughts are playing tricks on you. It's not real. And you can use that same mind and different thoughts to create a different reality for yourself, one thought at a time. There's no victory for darkness. You deserve to be here, and the world deserves the fullness of you, and nothing or no person can ever defeat you. No person, place, or circumstance can ever truly work against you. Like, do you even know who you are? Don't worry about how things look right now. Looks are deceiving. All things at all times are working for your good. Believe it. Let's say, oh, Shinnell, that's like all positivity. What about when this happened or that happened? Okay, so it's either you choose all things at all times are working for my good, even the things that have the appearance of not working for my good. Or you choose to think about like every doomsday scenario and live your life expecting bad things to happen. I choose the former. Because I'm like tired of choosing the latter. I just want to be happy. I want to be light. I am light. Believe that all things are working for your good and let yourself live long enough to see it come to be. To see the goodness, to know that yes, everything that I thought was the end of the world was actually the beginning of a new, more fulfilling chapter. Things that are meant to stay can never leave. People that are meant to stay can never leave. Jobs that are meant to stay will never fire you. Like, it works itself out. Life is not here to try to take you out. Life is here to serve you, to give you those things that match your frequency. What frequency are you vibrating on? You know, when I found myself in perceived darkness, it showed up as crippling panic and anxiety attacks. All fear-based. I just felt like I had no control, like life was happening to me nonstop. And how does one find peace when nothing stops? Like, how does one sit down when they think the weight of the world is on their shoulders and everything requires them not only to stand, but to hop, skip, and jump? My path to peace found me having to peel back the layers of me, of my thinking, of my fears, of my patterns, of my faith and where I was actually placing it. Because if truly, as within, so without, right? But there I was, looking without for signs, and then looking without and further without for the answers to the signs that would then make me panic. But then there's no answer to any problem that you have that truly comes from outside of you. Now, people can help you, therapists can help you, friends can help you, people can counsel you, but no matter what people say, something inside of you has to accept that truth. It's an inside job. Outside is a world of effect, a representation of your inner stuff made manifest, right? An indication of what may be going on inside of you. And so I had to start going inward more. And I've been going ever since. And something is telling me this is probably a lifelong kind of work. But I've been finding that the further in I go, the more peace I find. The further in I go, the more gratitude I find, the more joy I find, the more I find the joy and the peace that comes with being able to surrender. And I'm still struggling with a little surrendering bit. You know, I'm not perfect. It's like I said, this is a lifelong work. But I've been finding that when I stick with it, life can still be rough, but the rewards are there. And it's been excruciatingly painful work. Like, I'm not going to say that like facing yourself is any walk in the park. It's not. But like, what's the alternative? Hiding from yourself? Being afraid to forgive yourself, your thought patterns, you know, your perspectives, like whatever it was. You don't elevate in life, and you don't move to higher levels of consciousness so that you could look back on the way you process things before and judge yourself. That's kind of not the way it works. You've gotten to whatever level you're on now because of the things that you've gone through and how you've navigated those, right? Do not stay in the darkness because you're afraid of truth and afraid of light. You're already miserable in the dark. Why do you want to stay there? Like, catch a glimpse of the light and move towards it at your own pace. You're fine. You're fine. You'll be okay. It'll be okay. You are okay. We are okay. And we're going to use this podcast to do this life thing together. I think I should wrap this up now. Did I say I'm excited to be back? I think I did, but I'm so thrilled. So thrilled. Allow me again to reintroduce myself. I am Shinnell Mariah. I'm lots of things. I have lots of different titles. But first and foremost, I am just a human being. And everything that has to do with me and the way that I choose to be and how I observe myself to be in people and harmony and love and like those are the things that I'm after. And this is Musings with Shinnell, the podcast. A safe place, a safe space for us to just like share our notes about this life thing, how we're living it, how to make the most of it. There are no active social media platforms to follow me on, by the way. I'm just not into that right now. I don't want to. Why don't I have an Instagram account or a Facebook or whatever else? I don't want to be there. Maybe that'll change as time goes on. But, you know, you found this podcast again, whether you're a notification or you stumbled upon it, right? Because I guess you're meant to be here. And if you have friends and family or people that you know that you think might like it, then share it with them too. But it's going to be this little like word of mouth secret community. Because God knows I can't do the Instagram, Facebook thing right now. Anyway, I just haven't had the experience where social media and having an account and posting stuff and scrolling where it's made me feel good about me. And I don't want it for myself right now. I don't want that. I want to focus on the purity of what I'm trying to do here and, you know, reaching you folks. And it'll probably change in the future. But there is a very neat button that you could click on. I think it's on every episode. And you could I think it says either like message me or text me or whatever. And if you sent me a message there, like I would get it. And you could also leave reviews and ratings and all that if you like the podcast. But yeah, let's make this like a grassroots word of mouth podcast movement, because that's exactly what it's going to be. I haven't even told anyone that like I'm relaunching. None of my friends. It's like it'll probably depend on if they too have left notifications on from 3 years ago. Then they'll probably message me. So, hey friends, if you're listening to this, I just wanted to do it without like making a big deal about it. But anyway, happy to be here. Happy for my old friends and my new friends and all of us. It'll be like a nice family here. Excited for this podcasting journey that we'll be on together. Been journaling quite a bit, so some episodes might be, you know, more along the lines of like what my journal entries looked like, what I've been discovering, what I've been thinking about. But I'm just so grateful for you and excited, and I'm wishing you love and light, God's richest blessings and everything for your highest good. For those of you who don't, you know, believe in God or like when people say that, do you? This is the podcast. Like I'm just going to do what I do and I'll say God because that's what I'm comfortable with. But you could replace it with like whatever name resonates with you, the most religious or non-religious, right? Source, creator, divine mind, master consciousness, spirit, energy, universe, like whatever you choose, like do you, boo. And I will be doing me and whatever the thing is that connects us all. That's the God energy that I'll be referring to whenever I say God bless you, right? Because God is blessing you and blessing all of us. I'm just glad that we found each other, that you found your way to this podcast. Grateful for you, wishing you the best, sending you all good vibes. Take care. Until we talk next time.